as the festivities of Diwali come to a close and the AQI rises once again, it is pertinent to ask, what is the solution? Should we sit back and watch while year after year we're made to breathe toxic air? We have set out multiple solutions that can be used. And of course, today we're here to discuss what can and has been implemented globally and will benefit the country. For example, there can possibly be community gatherings wherein the crackers are being burst. The question that we have to ask now is, can the cracker debate be ended in 2024, or will we keep fighting the same battles? We have with us some very special guests, but I'd like to begin. We have with us Abhinandita Mathur of the Aam Aadmi Party, B.S. Vora of the Delhi RWA, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Chairman and MD of Nephron, Dr. Anil Bansal, former CMO of NDMC. But I have with me, and I'd like to begin with this guest, Tanmay Bunkar, who's the CEO of BotLab Dynamics. Tanmay, if you can hear me, I'd like to begin with you. On our screens right now are several of the drone shows that have been organized for various firms, state governments, national governments, and almost everybody across the world that you have actually helped bring their ideas of a drone show come to light. The reason why we want to discuss the possibility of drone shows, or say, how they do it sometimes in the US, where there is firecrackers that are taken up by the national government, on the 4th of July, a concept like that which helps people still enjoy the concept of lights, of seeing something really wonderful happen, but nobody has to get into it personally, and that perhaps somewhere could possibly help bring down pollution in Delhi, because we had some respite for a few days, but we've seen after Diwali it's back to square one for the national capital. So I'll begin with you, Tanmay. If you can firstly just tell our viewers who all have you helped with these sort of drone shows?
Okay, so just to begin, BotLab is a 7-year-old startup now. We have been working on making the technology accessible for the Indian market. We have done more than 70 shows in the past year and a half. We have done several shows for the government. We have done several national events, including the national games, IPL opening ceremony, and apart from that, various corporate players also have worked with us to bring their concepts to life. See, drones, and especially drone light shows, are very new. There are several examples in the West where they have already either complemented an existing event with drone light shows, or they have totally replaced fireworks. One good example would be the Burning Man, where they gather in the middle of nowhere. And basically, this used to be, as the name suggests, a very big fire. It is now replaced with drone shows.
Okay.
Another example would be...
and Tanmay, while you're speaking, sorry, I'd request our team to just keep those visuals on air, because that's probably the most compelling part of this conversation with you that we're having right now. Because we really want people to see what is possible. I personally did not know the extent of drone shows in India before we actually researched on it and then came across BotLabs. So we want to use this time as an educational experience also for anyone who's trying to do anything special for a community or for their firm and organization, to keep this in mind, that this option is available, it's picking up. But go ahead, Tanmay, you were explaining to us.
Yeah, so apart from that, there are New Year's celebrations that happen, namely in Sydney and in Dubai. These are one of the largest pyrotechnic shows that happen. And they are already complemented with drone shows. They have taken out some budget out of the budget that they're going to put towards fireworks, and now they're using drone shows. Why? Because, see, the technology behind fireworks has not changed a lot, and it has saturated to a certain extent. The kind of complexity that you can put in the sky is very limited, especially with fireworks. Whereas when you are using drones, you can make any 2D or 3D shape in the sky. You can make the globe, for example. You can make several ecosystems. You can put any kind of message that you want in the sky, and it's visible for kilometers. Also, it stays that way for several seconds or minutes, depending on how the formation is made. Like fireworks, which basically stays there for a few moments. Drone shows can also be longer. So we have done 15 minutes, but there are examples where drone shows have gone up to half an hour and even more than that. The complexity that a drone show offers is second to none. And it is only going to get better because we are only at the surface of this technology now. As I said, we have done 70 shows, but there have been hundreds of shows around the world where they have depicted like just awesome scenery in the
absolutely, and we can see that on our screens. Honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. And the reason why this idea, Tanmay, also came to us was because recently a video of a drone show in Dubai on Halloween went viral online, and that's when people realized, or they remembered, oh yeah, this concept also exists, and look at what Dubai is doing. And like I said, that's when we started researching. And I came across BotLabs, which is literally sitting in the capital of India, that's doing this for countries across the world, and we were so surprised. So we're glad to have you, and we hope that your message and your company reaches out to more people through this telecast. But if you can just out of curiosity, I'd just like to understand if you can help maybe explain the technology behind it. How does it actually really end up working?
Okay, so when we started, we were actually working on swarming. Swarming is the technology that enables an individual or a small group of people to operate a large fleet of drones. Normally, when you see a drone flying, there is one person that is controlling that drone. He is responsible for maintenance of that particular aircraft. Whereas in swarming, you give a lot of intelligence to the drone itself, where the drone can take decisions on its own. The other is that these drones are working with a special GPS. It's called a real-time kinematic GPS. So a normal GPS on a good day will give you an accuracy of about 5 meters. The GPS that we have designed, and we manufacture them in-house, we basically get them manufactured in Manesar. They give you an accuracy of less than 5 centimeters. So you can fly your drones really close, and you can make any kind of 2D or 3D formation in the sky. And they are very well choreographed. So they are choreographed using GPS time, which is accurate to nanoseconds. And we have special simulation softwares that make sure that these drones, once they are flying, they do not collide. They are not asked to do anything that is beyond their physical capability. And there are other simulation softwares that ensure that overall the drone show is safe. So the drone doesn't go beyond a certain boundary. We basically call it a geofence. So the drone will never go beyond a certain point. Especially this has to do with compliance, where we don't want the drone to fly where people are, where the audience is, and to ensure safety of the whole show. So we have made the technology. It took us about 5 years. All of the components that are on our drone are designed in India, and they are manufactured in and around Delhi. All the software also is the same. Our team has designed the software, and it is getting better and better every day.
Okay, all right. Tanmay, I'll bring you back to the conversation, but I'd like to bring in Dr. Sanjeev Bagai as well. Dr. Bagai, ideally, yes, we should stop the bursting of firecrackers entirely as much as we can, but there is now today a concept of green crackers, and there's so much more that already exists out there. It probably will not work out asking people to stop bursting crackers. We've seen that. I mean, it's been banned by the Supreme Court for all over India, but we saw the reality yesterday. What would you suggest be the way forward? Do you feel that the governments, state governments or the center really needs to take up this concept of some sort of a community celebration?
Good evening. 3 quick points. The first point is personal health, community health, and medicine should never be mixed with either politics or religion. There is a great sanctity to the Diwali festival. It's a festival of lights. It's a festival of good health and blessings. But I think there are important studies which have been published worldwide, which have been conducted in Delhi, in Varanasi, in Jamshedpur, and various other parts of northern India, which have unequivocally proven that firecrackers enhance the ongoing pollution, increase PM 2.5, PM5, SOx, NOx, carbon monoxide, methane, apart from causing injuries, especially to smaller children, like burns and grievous injuries to fingers and eyes. Having said that, there is a DPCC report which has been shown that firecrackers has increased PM 2.5 and PM5 as compared to 2022. This year's has increased by 45% and 33% respectively. Now, in an environment in which Punjab is burning and other parts of northern India where the parali and the crop burning is bringing in just loads of toxic fumes, the Diwali firecrackers just may have ignited it a little bit more. It is not the only contributor, but it could be a small but significant contributor for a day or two to push the viral infections and the breathing problems up. What is the way forward? I think first and foremost, with regards to Diwali crackers, there are worldwide examples in which fire shows are done, cracker shows are done, lights and community celebrations are done. And I've attended personally a few of them in New York and in Sydney, in which they do it. There is no cover charge, there is no fee charge. The government organizes this, and there are grand shows which are done. All you need to do is to book a ticket. It's a festivity. You can eat, you can enjoy with the family. It is safe. There is no personal injury. There is no personal exposure to those toxic fumes and gases. I very clearly feel that is the way forward. But bursting crackers in open air versus bursting crackers in residential complexes or in high-rise buildings where the fumes stay for a much longer time in the concrete areas is obviously two separate chapters altogether. I would say we form a middle path. There are various areas of Delhi in the outskirts which are having more open areas. It will be safer for the community. With regards to the green crackers don't go by the name. The green crackers also cause pollution. There
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, you're right about that. They do cause pollution. All sorts of crackers cause pollution, but there must be some reason why the courts have actually said that, okay, with green crackers, go ahead.
Yeah, and my major concern is that especially the smaller children who burst crackers, they are always prone to finger injuries, eye injuries, and burns.
Yes.
I think we need to follow a middle path. We need to recognize and value the sanctity. Me, myself, being a very staunch Hindu, I think Diwali is a festivity of lights. It's a festivity of celebrations and to fonder love and bonding, but with safety.
Okay, all right. Dr. Bugai, thank you so much. Let me bring in Dr. Anil Bansal as well into the conversation. Dr. Bansal, what do you think of the way forward, sir, when we think about how to celebrate the Festival of Lights with a community at large? What do you think can be the solution? Because we at NewsX, when we were discussing, we thought about the idea of, say, a great sound and laser show maybe that can be organized. There could be a possibility of a drone show, something that Tanmay does, at BotLab Dynamics. What would you suggest, sir?
In my opinion, our country has a maximum population in the world, and our law system is very poor. Nobody implements the law. The law implementing agencies are afraid to implement their own laws. Recently, you have seen the Supreme Court has banned, and in spite of that ban, yesterday we saw everybody was burning the crackers. From where the cracker comes, because they know nobody will take action. Once the Diwali is over, everything will be forgotten. Last year, day before, 2 years back, Supreme Court always says that crackers should not be allowed. But every time they cross the limits and people have to suffer. We have to, as Dr. Sanjeev Bukai said in the beginning, the politics should not be involved in these cases. In our country, everybody's politicians are busy in giving blame to one party or the other party. It should be a proper thing that Diwali is coming in month of November, so September, July, etc. A meeting should take place and they should find out what should be done. And if somebody is breaking the law, as some people are saying, in European countries, America, there is a community fire bursting which people implement. But in our country, nobody is implementing the law. If you break the law, nobody will say anything. People are not afraid of. So once
Right.
and not political. Everybody should be implementing the law, and if somebody is breaking the law, he should be punished so that in next year other people are afraid of breaking the law.
And but Dr. Bansal, that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because there are so many people now today who say that, oh, this is not about Diwali, don't try to hijack Diwali, this problem is actually the parali burning, and they're not wrong entirely. Yes, the Diwali crackers do contribute significantly to the pollution, there's no doubt about that, but it's actually the parali burning that's happening all across North India, which is the major contributor, and nothing has been done about that. So people actually do take these bans on crackers, even though it's the absolute right step to do. For various other reasons, people do end up taking it personally. So perhaps the way forward for at least the next few years needs to be, what is it that we can do on Diwali that perhaps also brings communities closer together. Today, most of us end up celebrating Diwali, just by being at home. For most of the people who are not bursting crackers, they don't have much in terms of looking forward to, in the sense of any sort of a grand celebration for most people who've given up on crackers. But I'll come back to you, Dr. Bansal, just a bit. B.S. Vora of the Delhi RWA in Bhagidari, I'd like to bring you into the conversation, sir. You've heard what Tanmay has said. He's responsible for absolutely fantastic drone shows across the world, and you've also heard Dr. Bagai and Dr. Bansal, what they've had to say. As a person belonging to an RWA, what do you think? What would you want the way forward to be, so that every year, right after all the stubble burning for many weeks, we don't come back to square one on Diwali day as well?
See, the problem is that we don't intend to save ourselves, our younger generation, our kids, our elders from the root cause of pollution. Everyone knows that we are losing almost 11 years of our precious life just due to air pollution. So we can say that breathing cost of Delhi is just 11 years of our life. High Court has raised a concern that kids are getting breathing problems. And a new correlation has been found between brain strokes and the gaseous and particulate matter. But still, we are not willing to understand. No rule, no ban can stop this firecrackers and bursting of crackers, but just we have to understand the problem. If we start stopping, we start avoiding the firecrackers, only that is the solution. Yeah, drone shows and such other things are really helpful and can be used as an alternative, but still we don't understand. Nothing can be done. Yesterday, it was not parali, it was not vehicular emissions, it was purely and clearly the firecrackers. And the PM 2.5 level dust 2000, can you believe? The PM 2.5 was at 32 times of the normal standards, Indian standards. And if you compare this with the WHO, Delhi is no more a place to live or breathe.
Yes.
So we must understand the root cause, the gravity of the situation, and we must come forward to save our lives, our elders, our kids, our ladies, everyone. Otherwise, if today we are losing 11 years of life, in the next few years we will be losing 21 years of our life, and that's the end of Delhi, because people will run away from this city, and government must come forward with some alternatives, with some changes. If it is parali, they must change the crop pattern. There's no other alternative. If the crackers, they must ban it, and they must see that it's not produced anywhere. If it is produced outside Delhi, if you can buy it from Ghaziabad, from Faridabad, and bring it to Delhi, it's of no use. It's of no use.
Okay, but Mr. Bora, does the idea of some sort of a community celebration in terms of a light and laser show or a drone show, does that appeal to you? Is that something that you are perhaps willing to take back to your own colony?
Yeah, definitely, 101%. Would love to have the laser shows and the drone shows. At least no pollution is there. We can save our life. We can save our younger generation who are meeting brain strokes just due to this air pollution. Let's go for the drone shows. Let's go for the laser shows. Let's enjoy. It's the day of festival. It's the day of lighting. We must lighten the candles and everything. And with the drone shows, with the laser shows, and avoid crackers at any cost. There's no other option for us.
Okay, Abhinandita Mathur of the Aam Aadmi Party, let me bring you into the conversation now. You've heard what everybody has had to say. I'd like to understand from you, is this something that the Aam Aadmi Party would like to ponder over and perhaps take forward? See, Diwali 2023 is already over. What had to happen has happened, but maybe we can plan that next year. Let's hope that there is something that is offered, some sort of alternative that is suggested, which will entice people to not go ahead and buy crackers on their own and maybe have something else to indulge in, even though Dr. Sanjeev Bagai says that political parties should not be involved in this, but I'm sure that there's some way forward and there's some way for parties to also be involved to organize something special for the people.
Good evening. Actually taking away from all the points that were made in this discussion, a couple of things that we all agree with. One is the community celebration as an alternative. In fact, if you would remember, in 2020, the Delhi government had organized a big 5-day laser show, which actually got a lot of traction. Unfortunately, because of COVID in the subsequent years, that did not happen, but that did actually send out a message loud and clear, and that is what we need to do. Very unfortunately, yesterday what happened is very heartbreaking, very traumatic for a lot of people, especially those with severe breathing problem, elderly and children. But at the same time, we must see why it happened. Look, if there is a ban by the Honorable Supreme Court, then the agencies that are supposed to implement it, what was stopping them to implement this ban? On the contrary, the people who are supposed to implement the ban were on social media, trying to politicize this, trying to communalize this, and saying things like, please go ahead, please burn crackers. It's very important to burn crackers on Diwali. Now, that is the kind of community that we are building. This cannot be the community that we are actually, going to come together to save our children or to save our people. And believe me, it is not the fault of the people. It is in fact the fall of the entire ruling class, and that such negligence happens because we were looking at the data from yesterday about where these crackers were being burned. These were sparse in pockets, but that was bad enough. And the question that we must ask is, how did people get the crackers when cracker sales were banned in Delhi? How did the people acquire crackers? Crackers went on till 4 in the morning. तो कहीं से आए थे? अगर हरियाणा से आ रहे हैं, अगर नोएडा से आ रहे हैं, अगर गाजियाबाद से आ रहे हैं, that means there is a huge lapse in terms of monitoring and policing. If all the 3 states are not policing this, then there is a problem. It's like, you're getting some sort of hazardous fireworks into the city of Delhi without permissions from the Supreme Court, who is to be answered. And I would avoid politicizing this, but I must say that there are very disturbing social media posts by the likes of Kapil Mishra, who are in the BJP, who are actually saying कि ये ban जो है Supreme Court का, ये unscientific है, and it is very important for this religion, to a specific religion, to burst crackers. It is very important for another community to not burst crackers. I mean, what the hell? What is the message that we are trying to give? And that is where we see a lack of intent of the bodies who are supposed to monitor, who are supposed to actually police this ban, and why that did not happen. I think that is a question that we must raise. And the other points, very well taken. I assure you that the Delhi government will again hopefully be able to organize another big Delhi ki Diwali. Unfortunately, because of politicking, we did not get permissions to do so this year, but we hope that we'll get some relief from the Supreme Court and people of Delhi can come back to finding more progressive ways of
Okay. All right, so that's a promise right there. And I do want to keep this conversation as positive and as solution oriented as possible. So again, even I don't want to get into the politics of all of it. Hopefully the netas will get a message that, listen, people, you give them an alternative and people may actually just go for it, at least try it out, because it's not the first time it will be happening. Several countries across the world we've seen, in order to ensure that each household is not bursting crackers, or each household is not having to set up its own light and sound show or a drone show. A lot of times communities, RWAs, local authorities, they do come together to do all of this, and that's something that is so easily applicable to India as well. There's no reason that we should not be looking into it, and that's the only reason why we're having this conversation and not going on and on about cracker bursting and all, because at the end of the day, we've seen the reality yesterday in Delhi. I want to end this conversation with Tanmay. Tanmay, just in terms of the scale at which one can perform a drone show, the sort of costs involved, if you can help explain to our viewers, because of course when something grand of technology is involved, we do end up assuming that, oh, this is going to be such a costly alternative, and that may be true, but when you're getting communities together and multiple people are perhaps pooling in the money, then that could possibly help bring the cost down as well. So people, of course, like I said, people need to see this as a viable option against me, say, going to the market and buying a packet of patakas for $100 versus me having to spend a lot more on a drone show. But if you can take that question forward and just help alleviate some of those doubts that people may have.
Okay, so just as an example, the show that happens in Dubai and Sydney Harbour, they cost a few million US.
Right.
We can put up a show for a tenth of that budget, and it will be as spectacular as the fireworks show is going to be. We have done the second largest show in the world, and that happened at Rashtrapati Bhavan this year.
Right.
And the scale at which these drone shows can be done has no limit. We can do several shows across Delhi simultaneously at, say, in the evening of Diwali. You can have several shows following the festivities, and it will still cost a fraction of the budget that the most of the international shows are there.
Okay, all right, Tanmay, thank you so much, for to the entire panel, in fact, for joining us on the broadcast to take this important conversation forward. And I'd like to just leave, in fact, the last word with Tanmay itself. Tanmay, what would then your appeal be to the people? Because like I said, you also operate out of New Delhi, so you're facing the same problems as everybody else. So as a citizen and also a person who's found a way out to celebrate something grand, what would then your appeal be to communities, to governments, to people who can, it doesn't even have to be governments, we're putting the onus on governments because it's easier for governments to organize and operate, but anybody else who wants to do something nice for the community, what would your appeal be to them?
My only request is, see, this is a technology that is built in India. This is a technology that can be customized as per your requirement. We have a very fast turnaround time. All I would say is give us a chance. The world is already ahead in those terms. They have already started replacing or making at least drone shows a part of these fireworks shows. We should take a lead. We should set an example, and we should show the world that how technology can actually help alleviating all these social problems. That is all.
Right, absolutely. I thank everyone for joining us to take this important conversation forward, and hopefully everyone's been educated about some of the alternatives that we can look at to bursting firecrackers every Diwali, as we've educated ourselves today as well, and hopefully we will see some of these options coming forward on Diwali next year. That's the hope for this conversation. Once again, I thank everyone for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.